In April 2021, President Biden announced that the United States would reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 50% by the year 2030. We don't yet have much detail on how he plans to do this, but if his campaign was any indication, there's going to be a lot of infrastructure spending, there's going to be a lot of increased regulation and more complex regulation, and a lot of tax and subsidy things to restructure the way our energy industry works. Whoa, now. Aren't all these taxes and regulations and stuff going to be bad for the economy? I mean, think about it. What about GDP, jobs, our debt? The whole economy, right? Well, stop there, because it's actually not that simple. Now, let's get back to basics. These arguments are based on something that economists call efficient markets. And it's one of the first and most fundamental things we learn in an econ classroom. I don't want to get lost in a technical discussion of efficiency, but I'll say this. Sellers are consider the cost of producing a good. Buyers consider the benefits of using a good. And in a well-functioning market, these people combine so that every transaction has more benefits than cost. All mutually beneficial transactions occur, and the net benefits to society are maximized by the market. That's what we mean when we say efficiency. It means that the market is doing all the good for society that it can, and that any intervention will reduce the benefits to society. Wait, doesn't that mean that we were right all along? Doesn't that mean that the government should just stay out of the economy and let it do its thing? Whoa now. Hold your horses, guys. You see, there was a survey, which the link's in the description, of a bunch of environmental economists on climate change. 3/4 of them said that we need immediate and drastic action on climate change. And only less than 1% said that it's not really a problem. Now, how can that be? Well, the answer is pretty simple, and it comes to a concept that we call market failure. Now, I don't mean market failure like a bunch of sad people lost all their money when the stock market crashed. When I say market failure, I mean specifically that the market is inefficient and that it's not maximizing net benefits. All right, so let's put this in an environmental context. Most of the time, firms do not worry about the costs of their pollution. Now, what are the costs of pollution? Well, there's the more obvious, immediate local health concerns. There's also global warming, which has with it rising sea levels, which will mean people getting displaced in a humanitarian crisis. Our crops might die, ecosystems might fail, we might get some more extreme weather. And with ocean acidification, it means we're going to run out of fish, and a lot of people are going to go hungry. None of these things plays any role in the profit maximizing decision. And so none of these things is going to get measured in the marketplace by itself. The market will ignore those costs. And ignoring costs leads to overuse. If the benefits balanced with some costs, then that means total costs outweigh the benefits. In this case, we're going to have too much pollution because the costs will outweigh the benefits. Let's do an example of choosing whether to hire a worker. You will hire a worker if the benefits of hiring them are more than the costs of paying them. But what if you can ignore those costs? In this case, just not pay your workers. Well, if you don't have to pay your workers, I bet you'll hire more than you originally would have. It's the same idea with the pollution stuff. If we don't account for the costs, we will engage in too much of the behavior. Okay, fine. Pollution has a cost. But how do you quantify that? Like, how costly is all that climate stuff anyway? We know it's a scary list. Well, one measure is that economists have estimated that global warming could make global GDP drop by 20% over the next couple of decades. And in order to make much sense of this, economists calculate what's called a social cost. A social cost is the private cost of the company plus the cost to everyone else, and it's the total cost to society. For instance, a metric ton of carbon dioxide, estimated $51 to society. A metric ton of methane, $1,500 to society. 1 metric ton of nitrous oxide, $18,000 to society. We can measure the estimated damage from these pollutions and put a cost on them to measure them to guide our policies. Now hang on, Pollution's necessary for the economy. So are you telling me that economists hate the economy? Of course not.
That would be stupid.
Believe it or not, economists actually like it when you have food and shelter and smartphones and vacations and sports and everything else that you enjoy. The problem is that making those things creates pollution. There's benefits, there's costs. We want the costs to be balanced with the benefits. But right now, they're not because we are over polluting, which brings a lot of cost. Now, don't get me wrong, economists do have different ideas here. But
don't forget that survey I mentioned earlier. It was sent worldwide to all the economists who published on climate-related topics in top econ journals.
738 participated. 3/4 said that climate change demands immediate and drastic action. Less than 1% believe it's not a problem. That, my friend, is a strong consensus. So are economists going to endorse whatever plan Joe Biden cooks up? I don't know. Probably depends on what the plan is. It's going to have infrastructure and regulations and taxes and subsidies. And, honestly, some economists are going to love it and some aren't. But don't forget that 74% in that survey said they favor drastic action. Now, next time, I'm going to answer the question of what would an economist propose to alleviate climate change. We're going to look at the Economist statement, which is the largest public statement in economists' history. Booyah! It's kind of a big deal. Now, it was signed by 28 Nobel Prize-winning economists, 4 former chairmen of the Federal Reserve, 15 former chairs of the President's Council of Economic Advisors, and 3,500 other PhD economists.
But like I said, guys, that's for next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was my first current policy-related video. I plan to do a whole bunch more of them. If there's any particular policy you're wanting to learn about from an economics perspective, put it in the comments and I'll see if I can include it in the series. Otherwise, yeah, if it was helpful, like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever it is you do, but I appreciate whatever it is. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck out there and happy econing.